So last night, I was just chilling and like I was I wanted to watch the newest episode of Mandalorian, but I wanted to watch it in the big screen in the living room, but I had to kind of wait for my family was decorating the tree and stuff like that, so I had to wait till they were done. So I was eating my dinner and then um I finished my dinner and I was like stuffed because I made some like shrimp pasta and had a glass of wine, and I was just laid out on my bed, and then I'm thinking in my head I gotta wash the dishes and put away the food and stuff like that. But I was so stuffed. I was like, I just laid out on my bed and I just popped on the TV, and like my TV is basically just stuck on like Comedy Central. Um,
Comfort TV.
yeah. So, but it was like I forgot what was on, but it was something I just didn't feel like watching. So I was like scrolling through um the TV, and then like I saw The Odd Couple 2.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh
Yeah,
man, we are so in sync. I don't want to cut you off, but guess what I watched last night? What movie? Ah, a couple.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. So I was just like scrolling through like the channels, and I saw The Odd Couple 2, with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon, and it at one point held the record for like the longest gap between sequels, like direct sequels, which actually got broken when The Force Awakens came out, because Force Awakens is technically the sequel to Return of the Jedi, which came out in '83, and then Force Awakens came out in 2015, so that was like 35 years, 32.
32.
Yeah, and then The Odd Couple and Odd Couple 2 was 1968 to 1998, so it was
Yeah,
30 years.
I saw that in theaters. It was like
The Odd Couple?
The guy from Weekend at Bernie's, Jonathan Silverman, Jason
Yeah,
Silverman,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and like,
That's what
oh,
I
like,
know him
and
as.
they
Yeah.
get together, isn't it like I haven't seen this in probably 20 something years, but like it's like his son and his daughter are meet, and then they find out that like they're gonna be the in-laws or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
make me crazy, Felix. I was literally saying that all night long. I was like, Felix, you're making me go crazy. That's so funny
Uh,
because I watched the original Odd Couple and I forgot how good that movie was.
yeah, and
That's
I don't know
hysterical.
if they showed, like, I got into the second one like 10 minutes after it started, and then watched the whole, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm just gonna watch it till like I go outside, and then like I watched like 10 minutes, 20 minutes of it, and I'm just like, it was on one of those movie channels that don't have like commercials and shit. Like I think it was HD Movies
Oh,
Network or something like that.
was it on after part one? Because it was at 10:30 to 12:30. I texted my mother. I go, Odd Couple's on, and it was at 12:30 at the end of the movie. So maybe it was like
N-
maybe.
Nah, when I watched it, it was Odd Couple 2 had started at like 10
Oh,
o'clock to 11:30. Odd Couple 2, and then the first one came on after that at 11:30. So I was watching that
oh,
one,
there we
and
go. Yeah, so there we go. Because I probably texted when I started watching. It was the scene where Jack Lemmon is they had the British girls come in, the pigeon
yeah, 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 that's
sisters,
the first one. Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get whatever," and that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's funny that they actually aired that. That's a classic, you know.
yeah,
And again,
yeah.
I mentioned Poe, Neil Simon. He's from the Bronx too. There
Mm-hmm.
you go. I
Yeah.
always like bringing that up.
Yeah. So I was like, I hadn't seen the original Odd Couple, and I'm familiar with like the TV show based on
Mm,
it,
Klugman.
but yeah, I was like thoroughly impressed. I was like laughing. I was just like, yeah, and I was just thinking in my head, I was like, yo, if like me and Mike blow up, like we could definitely remake the Odd Couple.
Yeah,
I
but
don't.
what would be what would be the friction?
It'd be the same shit, but you just got to figure out who's gonna be Oscar and who's gonna be Felix.
Well, you like sports more, so you'd be Oscar. and I'll be like, "You're supposed to put the cereal in by color, okay? You know the spectrum of the color." Uh, yeah, I actually always like the show more. I think I
Hmm.
watched the show more because I used to have it on like reruns and stuff, and I was a big um that was I actually have a picture of him. What's his name again? This escapes me now because we're talking about it.
Not Jack
Tony Randall.
Klugman.
Tony Randall.
Okay, Tony
So
Randall.
I have like actually a signed thing of Tony Randall that I found at like a flea market. But I always liked that more. This is great because they're like middle aged guys like trying to get laid. Like that was the whole show. That was the premise
Yeah,
of
it
the
was
show.
funny as well. The part when he like, cause we, I mean, obviously not middle age, but like in like my 20s, in college or like me and my friends now, it's just like we hang out and oh we got these two chicks coming over, blah blah blah. Blah. And it's like, and then you kind of have those same moments. But I'm watching that shit and like he goes in the kitchen, um Oscar does to fix drinks and he leaves Felix and if you don't know the story of the movie, like Felix is like his wife left him and he's like depressed and he actually tried to kill himself and he tried to like jump out the window but he blew his back out trying to open the window and he that's the only thing that stopped him from jumping out of his ninth floor window in like a Times Square like sleazy hotel.
Mhm.
And he after like 2 or 3 weeks he's like, yo, like Oscar, who's played by Walter Matthau, the sports writer, and the unkempt one, or the least organized one.
And the newly divorced as well. That's like the whole premise. They both, yeah, bad, newly, yeah,
And it was his idea for him to move in. He was like, all right, it's gonna be cool, blah blah blah, blah. And they invite these girls over, like Mike said, the pigeon sisters, and he leaves them there to like make drinks, and I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, and like in movies, they
mhm.
kind of speed shit up.
Yeah. It goes on for a while, right?
Yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
he should have known better than to leave him there with these two girls, and like he starts crying, but then the girls like fall in love with him because he's so like
yeah.
emotional, and I was just
That's
like,
probably yeah. That's the end of probably second act, and then the next is like he's looking for him, and then like they had cool shots in New York. If you guys appreciate like history, they're on
and I,
like a rooftop somewhere in like Upper West Side or Upper East Side, I think.
and that's exactly why I see that's why we got this show because I said this that's one of the reasons I like watching those old movies. I like to see the movies where they show like old New York. Like one of my favorite movies is this movie Marty with Ernest Borgnine, and it takes
Mm,
place in the Bronx, like
mm,
Arthur Avenue, Woodlawn, and I'm just like they do a lot of like um 1950s stuff. But that
yeah,
movie, I love it because they got the one of the famous parts is like the pirate. He's a sports writer. Oscars at the game. Covering sports, and it's like bases loaded, bottom of the ninth with like no outs, right? And like Bill Mazeroski is up at the plate. This is like 1968, and Bill Mazeroski, famously, unfortunately, thank God I didn't live in
mhm.
1960. Hit the home run to win the World Series against the Yankees that my, Mickey Mantle was crying over. But it's like bases loaded, um, no outs. Bill Mazeroski at the plate, and he's talking to like one of his fellow like sports writers, and he's like, the sports writer is like, oh, it's over, blah 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 blah. It's Bill Mazeroski at the plate, bases loaded, 1 run lead. Um, Basically all he has to do is put the ball in play, and he'll score, and they'll take over the game. And Oscar's like, it ain't over. Like, have you never heard of a triple play? And then a triple play is an extremely rare play in sports, and it's funny as hell because like earlier in the day I was playing MLB The Show, as we all know I love, and my guy is like a third baseman, and it had a point I was playing in the game, and like I had caught the ball like right next to third base when it was like first and second with no outs, and not even thinking, I was like, yo, if I would have stepped on the bag and then threw it to second, they would have threw it to first, it would have been a triple play. And I never like I've thrown no hitters, I've thrown perfect games, I've hit for the cycle, I've had 4 home run games while playing the show in all my years of playing the show. The only shit I have never done, and I'm be honest with you, I only just started like playing in the field. I never had a triple play. So back to like the odd couple, he's like, all right, like, have you never ever heard of a triple play? So the phone rings. His fellow sports writer, the one that said it's impossible, blah blah blah, answers the phone. He's like, Oscar, the phone's for you. He's like, tell him I'll call him back. And he's like, oh, he says it's an emergency. So he's like, all right. He goes, picks up the phone, and it's Felix, and he's like, listen, Oscar, like, don't get full on Frankfurters at the game. Like, I'm gonna make Frank and beans tonight. So he's like, what is the matter? Like, I'm working. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, blah 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 blah. And then while he's on the phone and his back is turned to the field in the press box, and he's like, so you hear the hits it to the third baseman, second base, first base. The guy, the sports writer's like, Oscar, it's a triple play. You missed it. It's a triple play. And he turns back to the phone. He's like, oh, you out of your mind? And hangs up the phone.
You idiot, Felix, you idiot. I literally was saying that all night. Another fun fact, Piglet, the voice of Piglet's in it. He's one of the friends,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
the
guy,
one with the
yeah,
glasses. Oh yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
didn't.
he,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
and we talk a lot about TV, and we always say like how like we talked a lot about reboots in
Mm-hmm.
a previous episode. I just thought about while you were talking that 2.5 Men is just a straight up remaking of that. If you think about it,
But
like
like the Odd Couple, yeah, that's like it kind of takes the formula, but like the Odd Couple, they actually did it like over and over and over again. They had the Odd Couple series, the one we were just talking about, and then they had the new Odd Couple, and it was
yeah,
actually like two black guys. One of the guys was Damon Wilson,
mm,
and actually, if you watch, like, this is the thing too about like Sanford and Son. If you ever watch Sanford and Son, the reruns, if you ever see there's like a period of time where you don't see Fred, it was because Red Fox left the Red
right,
Fox show, and then that show got canceled, and that's why he came back because he left Sanford and Son because he wanted more money.
yeah. He
And
walked he walked back in with the music on, and he walked out. There's that funny
yeah,
saying. There's a funny story of him walking out on stage, and there's only like 100 people in like a 1,000 seat arena or
yeah,
theater. He walked out. The music they played the music, I guess, and then he walked out, and he just kept walking. He didn't stop. He just kept going. And then
yeah,
if fans of The Simpsons, there was an episode where they have like a bachelor um, auction. Like
mm,
you like pay the highest bidder, you go on a date with a guy, but it's the right
yeah, yeah,
charity. Mo Sizlak, they mention all his like attributes and like what he likes and stuff like that, and they play the music, and he like literally walks out, and he just keeps smiling, and he goes into like the penalty box, and it's all like losers and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I
But yeah,
remember
that's,
that. And then Damon Wilson, he was one of the new Odd Couple.
mhm.
And that was the reason, like, if you saw Mad episodes and you didn't see Lamont, was because he was doing a new Odd Couple, but then that got canceled because they had like a writer's strike in the
Mhm.
70s too, like the one they had in 2008.
Mhm.
And then they kept on making it over and over, and like the most recent one was when they had Matthew
Mhm.
Perry and
The guy from the Lennon, Tom Lennon.
Tom Lennon. I knew
Yeah,
Lennon, but I couldn't remember his first
yeah,
name, from
it's a
Reno 911, and
great
that
character.
lasted for two. Yeah, Dingo.
Oh my god, the first episode I watched of Reno 911. You see this guy, really tall, good-looking black guy. The whole thing. That's what I was like. This show's good. I gotta watch this. Uh,
Yeah, and
uh,
it only lasted like two. It was 2015 to 2017
mhm,
on CBS. But in the future, but it's fun. But the only problem, Mike, when we make it, and I was thinking about it when I was watching it last night. I was like, if you made it in today's, after we talked about what we talked about, the last couple episodes with the gay shipping and
No,
the inclusion thing, the coverall they do with the black guys, it'd be like, oh, these two divorced men living
yep,
together in
yeah,
2020. Yeah,
yeah,
um,
yes.
yeah. Well,
Hey,
I'm not gonna
hey,
say. I'm just gonna imply there'll be implications.
maybe we'll become like whenever you're clicking, there's always these go-to gifs on Twitter. Maybe we'll be one of the ones where it's like you type in like ship and it's like me and you like doing something. Like we'll be like the famous meme, the famous gif. That's the goal. That's the goal, is to become a gif. I always feared being on the cover of the post and having a nickname,
Yeah,
but the dream is to become a gif. And there we go.
become a meme yourself.
Memeable.